My name is Tim Keys. I'm the tower captain at St Michael's Church in Ledbury, and that means I'm the person who looks after the bell ringing. I've been ringing bells for close to 40 years, but on and off. So I rang a lot when I began. That was in about 1980 for about 8 or 9 years. Then I had many, many years off and came back to it in retirement, and it's been great fun to do. The tower of St Michael's Church in Ledbury is unusual in that it's a separate building from the church, and there are not many like that. And it's been there for almost 800 years. So that's a long time, and in almost all that time it's had bells in it. Not the current bells, they've been there about 400 years almost. And you go into it, it's a great solid stone building, and you go up a winding staircase up into the place where you actually pull the bell ropes, and then you wind on up the tower, and eventually you find yourself in the place where the bells themselves are. And above that there is the huge stone steeple which disappears into the darkness. It's a very eerie place, and a place full of history.
There's an inscription around the top.
What I most enjoy about bell ringing is the company, to share a hobby with people who really enjoy doing the same thing. When it's an activity all about teamwork, is really rewarding. I want you in your own words to tell me. And it's enjoyable on lots of levels. There is a challenge physically. The heaviest bell in Ledbury weighs over a ton. So to be able to ring that efficiently and effectively so that it doesn't exhaust you is a particular skill, and it's good to learn that skill. But there's also a lot of homework to be done before you turn up in the tower and ring. You need to learn what are called methods. These are patterns of ringing, and you rely on everybody doing their homework and learning these. And then you've got to remember them, and you've got to see what's going on around you. There's lots of observation and listening. So it tests you in many different ways, but all the time you're with a team of people who are trying to learn the same as you're trying to learn. The project we're running is to restore the bells, and that means that they need to be repaired and they need to be retuned, and everything about them needs to be made ready so that they will last and be safe for the next 50 or 60 years. The last time there was an overhaul of the bells was in 1951, so that tells you that it's been quite a while since they were properly looked at, and now's the time. And it's going to cost about £250,000. So we've got our work cut out to raise that money, but we've got ideas about how to do that. We've put on a number of events recently. Some have been talks to groups, some have been welcomes to the tower for groups of youngsters. We put on a big event all about the history and the role in the heritage of our town and country of bell ringing recently, and that was a great success. So it's trying to raise the profile of bell ringing in this town. The youngest people in this country who spend a lot of time doing bell ringing are probably aged about 8 or 9, and the oldest people are well into their 90s. And they're all doing this activity that's been going on in this country for about 400 years, and it's a hugely rewarding thing to do. And it's great that it cuts across all ages, and it's something that you can always get better at. And somebody who has not been learning for very long can be a really useful member of a bell ringing band, and they can ring with people who've rung for decades, and it's just as rewarding for both of those people. There are about 5,000 or more places in the world where ringing happens, and nearly all of those are in England. A few in Scotland, a few in Wales, a few in Ireland, a few in other parts of the world. But in England there are thousands of bell towers, of towers of churches where there are bells that can be rung. And the lovely thing about bell ringing is you can turn up at one of these towers either on a Sunday morning if they're ringing for a service, or when they're having a practice sometime during the week, and you'll always be made welcome. And they'll say, what can you do? And you describe how much experience you've got, and they'll find something at your level to ring with them. It's a very welcoming activity all around the country.
2 to 5. 2 to 7.